Good morning, everyone. So good to be here. Happy Monday, October 13th. And this is the month of lots of excitement on the last day of October, getting us into the fall season. Good morning, Meryl and Sharon Rose and Wendy. As you come into the room, I'm Leslie Flowers, and let me sing you in. This is a little challenging, this song, but I do love it so much. So I hope you can hear it and that you also enjoy this as you come in and visit with one another. It's a still life watercolor on a now late afternoon, as the sun shines through the curtain lace and the shadows wash the moon, and we sit and drink our coffee, couched in our indifference, like shells upon the shore. You can hear is of our lives. And you read your Emily Dickinson, and I my Robert Frost, and we note our place with bookmarkers that measure what we've lost, like a poem for the time. We are verses out of rhythm, couplets out of rhymes, in this syncopated time. The conversation, the superficial side, are the borders of our life. As we speak of things that matter, with words they must be said. Can analysis be worthwhile? Is the theater really dead? And how the world is well divided. And I only kiss your shadow. I cannot feel your hand. You're a stranger now unto me, lost in the dangling conversation and the superficial signs in the borders of our lives. Well, good morning. I don't know what happened, but that was YouTube, and I don't know if I touched something, but good morning. I'm so excited you're here, and I know I usually have a guest. I get that. But this is something very special today that I want to have you step inside a place that we only talk about. We think we know what self-confidence is, what it takes to build self-confidence, what self-esteem is, what self-image is, and what identity is. Now, if you know me, this is Mind Over Matter Mondays, and the purpose of this show is to provide you information with one perspective view of methods and processes that work. There is empirical and scientific evidence that if you follow these processes, you have an opportunity to live a life of wealth, health, and happiness as often as possible. No one ever reaches it because there's nothing static. So today, as I think about what I wrote that we are going to cover, and so I really do want to share this with you. These are the things that we're going to look at, and they will clue you into the source. And so we're going to see what constitutes self-image and how it's formed, and how our confidence actually follows and mimics a cybernetic system that we can control and influence. But understand that your self-image and your self-confidence will always match your results. So if you're not happy with what you see, you've got to go to the source. And that's what I've been doing for the last 17 years. And I know where it is. And I want you to see where it is. Because once you visually see where it is, all of this that you've been listening to week after week from all of my wonderful guests will help you implement and use these things, the ones that resonate with you. Only the ones that resonate with you. There are lots of ways to do these things. So we're going to look at what constitutes self-image, how it's formed, how it mimics an existing cybernetic system. We'll talk a little bit about internal and external influences on our self-image, and I'd love to hear from you because I don't have a guest, so I'm going to do my very best to answer your questions and interact with your insights because I know you're all so smart. And also how childhood experiences affect our self-esteem, and then the strategies to rebuild or expand or develop our level of self-confidence, identity, all of those things for me, I see as one thing because they all live in the same house. There are many labels, right, for many different things. And let's face it, we human beings are meaning-making machines. We have to make meaning out of everything. And our perception is based on our awareness and our experience. So our perception is always growing. Your perception of self-image today will expand. You will add new perspectives to what you already know. Embrace the things that feel right to you, the things that are confusing or you feel somewhat resistant to, just let it go. We don't always get these things right away, but I invite you to consider them, that this is a walk inside who you are. And what I'm going to share with you is how I and my clients over the last 17 years have built their confidence, their self-esteem, their self-worth consistently in an upward momentum. So I'm so excited you're here. So let me take a few minutes here to thank you for being here and for me to see you and acknowledge you because you're here every week. And by the way, I have somebody really exciting coming next week that most of you don't know, but you will love what's coming. And I promise you. And the idea here, everyone, is as you listen to me and the different people that come in here, is that if you find something you like, start practicing it right away. Pick one thing and practice it. And it doesn't even have to be here. It could be someone that you don't even know. There's something about them that you really like. Their character, their delivery, their kindness, their humor, whatever it is that resonates with you, copy it, mirror it until it becomes your own habit. So let's take a look at who's here. And you hear the clicking of my mouse, which unfortunately tends to have a mind of its own, albeit a very small one. All right. So good morning, Meryl. So happy you're here. Oh, well, we've got some rain here in North Carolina, southeastern USA, North American continent, for those of you who are around the world. And we had a couple of days of cool weather and rain, which I'm always grateful for. But where I am, I'm very fortunate that nothing serious occurred weather-wise. And thank you for mentioning that. And Meryl, who is a big supporter of all the lives on LinkedIn and in other places. So get to know Meryl and follow him, because if you ever want to know what's going on, he makes sure everybody knows what's going on. Not only here with the carousel that I create every week, which has about 30 or 35 lives that are pretty consistent, weekly or bi-weekly. And then we announce them each week, so they're easy to find, but I can't get them all. And so Meryl is a huge help. So is Christy Williams and Adrienne Gergich. So between the four of us and you, the hosts, who are generous enough to repost, we tend to keep our rooms growing. And so I love that. Here's our darling Sharon Rose. It's a little earlier. Thank you so much, Sharon Rose. And we featured you last week. Now, I don't know why we don't have your pictures this time, because I took off the Norton VPN. Anyway, we'll just go with it because your name is here, and that's the most important thing. Thank you for being here, Sharon. Rosie Speaks. Hashtag Rosie Speaks. Catch up with her. Please be sure to connect and follow, and you already are. Collaborate. Use one another as an accountability partner. You're all pretty much on the same thought frequency. That is, this is not the naysayer frequency. This is the higher awareness frequency. This is where you've become objective, that you know you have a point of view, but you regard everyone else's point of view as important. That's an ideal accountability partner. And that's what I see in this group. All right, what did you say here? Stuck off the mid-Atlantic coast for the second day. Ooh, well, get out your warm clothes, and I hope that you stay warm and it fleets right by. And here is Ashif. Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Now, I thought it was yesterday. Is it today, the Canada Thanksgiving? And why? What precipitated, and I haven't looked this up, so I'm asking the Canada folks here, why is this the day for Thanksgiving in Canada? So please let us know. And Ashif, thank you for being here. Ashif's in Toronto. And be sure you follow him. He always has phenomenal quotations and is a big supporter. Okay, so it must be today, because Sajid Kumar is here from Canada as well. And Sajid Kumar is in human resources. Sajid Kumar, you sent a quote 2 Mondays ago of your Substack where you mentioned my Think and Grow Rich, but I can't find it. I can't find the quote. And by the way, did anybody notice, or is it just me, that there is no way to put a comment now on events until they start? Or do you think I'm in Linkyland jail? Anyway, happy Thanksgiving, Sajid Kumar. Blessed you and for being here and investing your time. I promise you'll walk away with your mind percolating today. This is one of my favorite things. Thank you, Wendy. Wendy, Wendy is one of these wonderful friends who every so often sends me a direct message and brightens my day. We each have our ways, and I don't always get a lot of those. So when I do, they're so appreciative. And as I acknowledge you, I get some acknowledgement back, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Sharon Rose, let's see what you say here. We can't change the frown by scratching the mirror. Oh, that's a good one. Oh my gosh. Sharon Rose, filled with all these phenomenal expressions. Oh, here's Tracy. Pink is the color of today. I'm so glad you're here. Tracy does a Wednesday at 1 o'clock Voice of Business, but then she drops in ad hoc live. So keep an eye on her page. She's has a lot of things going on that I think you'll like. Business from all over the world. So thanks for being here, Tracy, and always being a great supporter. I always love seeing you here. And here's Leanna, who's in Minnesota. Yeah, so far we're looking good. And please follow Leanna. Mostly what I love about her work is, well, it's probably not her work, is that she lives in a beautiful location and she shares really beautiful aesthetic photos every day. Now, I think they're right outside her back door. But we have learned that graphic images can calm us, and we can totally shift the way we're thinking when we're looking at an image. And that's why you'll see that I'll use images, I'll use voice to bring all of this information to you. And then you sift through. Try to stay focused as best you can. You may have heard a lot of things about confidence. Fine. Today you're going to add things. You're going to look at it differently. Or if you've seen me do this, I think maybe one other time, if you were confused, out of confusion comes clarity. So that's why we look at things more than once. And there's our dear Omar. He's also a couple of hours early in Arizona. Hope you're doing well. He has a show at noon on Sundays, unless he changes his mind. But no, typically they're noon on Sundays. It's Do We Really Know Them? And it's a unique inside view of people. In fact, he had Jason Gerardo on Sunday before last. And I've known Jason a long time, but Omar's questions kind of get under the blankets, if you will, in terms of what are people really loving to do besides their work, the way we know them on LinkedIn. So Omar, thank you for doing that, because Jason was one that I really, really wanted to get to know. And it turns out that we grew up in the same area. I'm older than he is, but we lived and had the same stomping grounds. So that was phenomenal. Yeah. Rosie reckons. Here we go. Phenomenal. There she is. And here is our wonderful Sandra. She was here in the very beginning when I started bringing on guests. She's a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis. And she's also an international best-selling author and a speaker. And she is driven to help people overcome diversity in business. Right? So if you're feeling as though you don't fit in or belong, this is her specialty. So please reach out to Sandra. And Sandra, thank you so much for being here. You are a darling. All right. Well, we have kind of a small group today. The right people are here. Let me invite you to, there's 3 dots at the bottom of LinkedIn. I'm also over on YouTube. The 3 dots will allow you to share or invite, if you would. Okay, everybody ready? Here we go. Let's see if I can get this right. Yeah, here we go. So you see that this is a little different, right? And so I'm so excited that you're all here, and I'm very happy to share this with you. You're just the right folks. And remember, go back and listen to it again. Zip through, because we've only spent 20 minutes on the acknowledgments. I mean, I could spend another 25, right? But I won't do today. So let us begin here. And here is our featured Mind Over Matter Monday participant. And this is Nick. And she was a co-host for a good part of the first of this year. I had a co-host who was unable to continue, and Nick stepped up. Excuse me. So Nicole is up for several awards as an emerging international leader. She started a company this year, Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. And she's already published 6 books this year, and she'll have 2 more before the end of the year. One thing I can always say about Nicole, if you ever know her and you've ever worked with her, she will always exceed your expectations. So thank you, Nick. This is so very cool. And let me say hello to Leigh Scheidel. Hi, Leigh. Excuse me, let me get some water here. I haven't talked to anybody but you this morning. Leigh is a digital photographer, quite masterful at this work. And she's calling in from YouTube. So Leigh, if you could drop in the link you're using to the YouTube so that anybody who may have any challenges with LinkedIn can hop over there. And thank you for being here. And Leigh and her partner have created Integrate Art, which is a program they're moving into schools to teach students and the teachers how to use art in every class, not just in art classes. And that's the reason for the visuals, right? We learn better when we have visuals and we have handwritten and we have eye to eye and we're using our ears, our senses. So the more of these things we can use effectively, the better we're going to learn. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And here is, thank you, Leigh, for being here. Always good to see you. Here's Lisa Fevick. Hi, Lisa. Her panel for the Menopause Dialogues is every other Tuesday afternoon. That's tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. She always has a wonderful panel and talks about all the things that we go through in the stages of menopause and that our partners are dealing with. So Lisa, thanks for being here and the work you do. And she also puts out a newsletter, which is about good eating anyway. So really, she's Lisa is a registered dietitian, and she advises which foods make it easier and that are better for you during the symptoms of menopause, but they work all the time. They're just sound and really good. And you are welcome, Leigh. You are so welcome. Okay, are you ready? Everybody ready? So we are going to look at some givens, some ground rules, some foundations, some things that I want you to hold top of mind. They're really the umbrella, but they're also the foundation of understanding identity, self-image, self-worth, confidence. Those three things, self-worth, self-image, and identity, are the same thing for me. They all live in the same place. So one of the things I pride myself in is the ability to articulate complex concepts in simple to understand form. So the first time you hear these things, many of them are likely to be confusing because it's a new way of thinking. But that's what awareness is. You try it on, you hear it again, you try it on again, and it either resonates with you, and I like that. I'm going to try to do that. That appeals to me, or that doesn't. But someone else explains it a different way, through a different perspective, their own, and that resonates with you. So we're not here to say that my way is the only way, or Sandra's way was the only way. Not so. Now, for me, I can tell you that this has been proven with empirical evidence over 17 years. So it works. But you have to be ready and willing, and you have to be in the right place. I can't tell you when you want to do this, but you'll know. Okay? So let me make this a little bigger here. Let's go into the next slide so we can begin this. All right, so these are the givens. These are the core of the larger objective ethereal mindset for you to understand your position and your self-confidence in relation to the world. Hang on a second, I got to get some water here. About a year ago, I got really interested in confidence. I've been teaching it for years, but I didn't like what I was hearing about confidence. Fake it till you make it. It's all about how you dress. It's what you think about yourself. Let's see if I can do this a little bit differently here. Yeah. What I've discovered, I've taken 500 clients through, my clients through 500 12-week goals over 17 years for each quarter. And ultimately what I discovered is that achievement is what directs your level of confidence. Okay, so confidence is built on your ability to achieve. But as you know, if you've been working with me, the challenge is being consistently able to achieve. And that's what we're doing on Fridays with Think and Grow Rich and the 12 Laws of Achievement. So this ties in nicely. So the way you affect and your confidence is based on your success in achieving things you want. Right? So the idea is to use the process and set one goal and achieve it. And every time you achieve it, your confidence gets bigger. It grows like a muscle in direct proportion to its use. So one way is achieving the things you want, not giving up. Right? And it's found that one goal at a time is the best. Thank you. Let me put this here. Lay has just put this in the comments in case you're getting bumped off of LinkedIn. So you can bump over to the events and copy this and watch it on YouTube if you like. The next thing is one of the mantras that I have used in every class over that 17 years. The final of 7 mantras that we repeat each week is, I am the mirror of your greatness, and you are the mirror of mine. If I can't see your greatness, consider that I don't have it myself. Now, obviously, there isn't no greatness in anybody because it's on a continuum. So if you only see the greatness a little bit now and then in certain people, then that's all you have. You only have a little bit of greatness, because that level of greatness that you've built as far as character is like a honing pigeon for other people's greatness. So now you know that the more you find the greatness in others, the greater your own greatness grows. Now, when I say greatness, I mean magnanimous, I mean service, I mean values, virtues, love, all those things. Unfortunately, due to influences, there's a lot of negativity and a lot of people looking for what's not right. Well, when someone complains, or if I complain about what someone is doing that I don't like, pretty much I can look back and know that at one time, that was exactly who I was. I recognized the things about myself I didn't like. So when someone irritates you, there's every chance that you used to irritate people with that. Isn't that wonderful? So if you purposely look for the greatness in other people, and by the way, based on the law of polarity, there are 7 universal laws that work 24/7, 365. God's laws, universal laws, they're constant. You have both. You have things inside you that you don't like and things that you do like. Which are you going to cultivate? You cultivate your greatness by finding it in others. Oh, look, there it is. And it doesn't matter the size of the greatness. So let's say you're having a row with someone and there's just bad blood. Even if that person stopped by the side of the road and you saw them or you were with them when they picked trash, a cup off the road, that is enough to shift to their greatness and kindness away from the things that got you irritated. And please remember that the only thing that anyone controls that walks on 2 legs, well, human beings, let me just say, I guess there are lots of animals that walk on 2 legs. There's only one thing that we have control over: what we think, how we feel when we're thinking it, and how frequently we think it. So looking for the greatness develops our own greatness, catching ourselves when we find something wrong with someone else. We're looking for what's wrong, and it comes directly from us. So all you do when you catch yourself is find something good about them. Like I said, it can be small. The law of relativity says nothing has any value until you compare it to someone else. So don't compare the goodness you found and say to yourself, well, that's not enough. It is. Just the mere fact that you caught it. That's the first step. Are you enjoying this so far? I hope you are. Let me see what. Hi, Luce. I know you're here. Seeing greatness is excellent. We all have a divine gift to share with the world. Absolutely, absolutely correct. This is what's going to change your life. It will build inside of you character that only 1 or 2 people out of 100 are doing. There's nothing wrong with everybody else. But very few people are ready and willing to do this, and only you know when you are. Right? So I can't convince you. And you'll notice I don't try to sell you anything, because I figure if you want something from me, you'll ask me. Okay. Oh, here's Luz. Luz, this is especially good for you, because Luz is now in ICF certification to become a coach. They don't teach this. So you will have an edge. Watch this again, because they don't know about this. AI doesn't know about it, because I'm the only one who knows about it. And of course, now they're going to catch it because it's all over the place, right? Anyway, you'll love this part of it. There's Dr. Marcia. Hi, Dr. Marcia has a fabulous Tuesday morning 8 a.m. show. And of course, now it's the name of it is Completely Out of My Mind. Something about the light. Anyway, she's a Christian leadership coach, and she's invited me to be on tomorrow morning. So we're going to talk about the length of emotions and the pitfalls as we're managing our emotions. So this actually feels, right, like it goes perfectly. Dr. Marcia and I actually are very aligned. While she's a Christian leadership coach, she's open to everybody. And that's what I love the most about her. Yes, that's all you can control, and how you feel. So if you're thinking over and over again, this is awful, right? It lowers your cellular vibration. You feel lousy. You get sick. It puts you into dis-ease. So it's important to understand. Now, once you're able to do this, what you do have with others is influence. When you understand this, you'll understand what's going on for the person you're talking with and your client, because you're really no different than they are. Not really. Okay. So be looking for the greatness in others, and that your level of greatness grows in direct proportion to how frequently you see it in other people. So this is really unveiling the mirror within. I said that twice. Isn't that nice? Exploring the origins of self-image, confidence, esteem, and identity. And as I've said, I make it easy. They're all the same. But confidence is a byproduct of your ability to achieve what you want. So as you set and achieve a goal, your confidence grows. Set and achieve another one, your confidence grows. But if you don't do it consistently and you miss one, that muscle of confidence dissipates some, right? So you have to go back and you have to disprove the failures that you've had, right? And that's what builds faith. And I'll show you. So let me see what else is here. Oh, thank you, Dr. Marcia. Thank you so much. Let's see here. We are hardwired to look for the bad as a defense mechanism, so training our mind to see the good is a skill. Absolutely. When I say we're hardwired, and when you say that, looking for the bad is from your fears. We have 6 basic fears. We had bad, fearful experiences. Don't let anybody ever tell you that your fears aren't real. Because even though they might have happened 20, 30, 40, or 50 years ago, when you begin to think about them again and you bring up the visual image, which you'll do, and the way you felt, and pretty much the age it happened. So you're even confirming and embedding more deeply every time you go to do something that you failed at, that you've been humiliated around. So keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and fear they are your enemies. Mine too. All right. Okay. You got these. These are core. These are all my quotes. These are things that I've come up with that I've seen repeatedly occur. And that's what makes them valuable to me. And if you're ready and if you love this, you'll see. And if anything is confusing, then you ask questions like my beautiful friend Cherito, who is here. Oh my God, it's almost 20 minutes to 11 at night. She's in the Philippines. This means so much that you're here. I hope you had a cup of coffee and that you can sleep in the morning, Cherito. Well, you're right here. This is the place. Here's your answers are here today if you're ready. These are answers, the puzzle pieces that you don't have yet. You have a puzzle and it's pretty well full, but you still have a few pieces. We always do. Yeah. And thank you, Joni. Joni, Lay put the YouTube. Oh, you found it. Okay, great. You did. I was going to say Lay put the YouTube link in there, but you found it. Yay. I was having trouble getting into LinkedIn myself, into the event. Problems for weeks with link. Yes. I will tell you what my own personal view is about that. The same thing happened with all this being bumped off with the audio rooms, remember? And then they hooked up with StreamYard and Restream and made us all pay, for those who weren't, to do lives. At that time, Zoom, you may have already had a subscription. I don't know whether you could live stream. Well, you could with the free one, but it's limited to 40 minutes. So I believe that the reason that all happened was because they didn't want to invest in new load balancers. I don't know a lot about technology, but I worked for a company that creates load balancers, a startup. So Amazon uses them when they have a sale and everybody wants the same thing. It diverts, wherever the information is coming in the fastest to a less clogged way in, if you will. And I think that what's happened here, particularly with those audio rooms, is they just didn't have enough load balancers, and now it's happening again. It's happening again, the same thing. So that's my 2 cents worth. I don't know, because I don't pay, so I'm grateful to be able to use the platform. I don't know how I'd feel if I was paying every month. I might be a little more annoyed. I don't know. All right, Sharon Rose says, we have the girl Bob Proctor. Yeah, actually, I took over his work, right? So he evolved 40 years over Think and Grow Rich and evolved his business, and I've spent the last 17 evolving his work because he wasn't done. Neither was Napoleon Hill. So the things that you're hearing here are the result of 20,000 hours of deep study and training. And I work directly with him and haven't ever stopped teaching this since spring of 2008. Okay, let's see what we have here. Seeing and acknowledging the greatness in others doesn't diminish our greatness. No. Yes, exactly right. It's like a muscle. It grows in direct proportion to its use. If you want to have more character, or, if there's something about a character, practice it. It's a little fake it till you make it, in a way. It's how you begin. Repetition is the first law of learning. And let's see what Sandra says. True. I'd add that confidence is what gets us started before success shows up. I believe confidence is really self-trust. No matter the outcome, we keep showing up. because there is no failure, only feedback and growth. Everyone who's achieved something great has failed many times along the way. Beautiful. I wouldn't change a thing about that. I like this. Confidence is what gets us started before the success. Well, yeah, it's momentum. Oh, excuse me. No. Motivation. And there is confidence in motivation. So I would tend to agree with this. This is great, Sandra. And so y'all be listening and reading this, right? Because there may be something in here that pings for you. That is the most important thing. What resonates with you? Confidence comes with age. Yeah. I am pretty confident now, it's true. But I do have my moments. You never really arrive. It's an aspiration because there are others who don't feel they are great themselves and are lost on how to find that greatness within. Well, it is, but not today. It's really understanding the process. You already do all these things. You were born with access to knowing all these things. You're just refreshing your memory now when you're ready, because you'll recognize things. You'll go, oh, I've heard something like that before, but you're not always ready to understand. So if you find yourself confused, it's okay. The next time you hear it, you see, out of confusion comes order. And keep in mind that when you're confused, you usually don't take action. So that's part of the reason for me showing this to you, is so that you were able to take action and do something. All right, let me just go on. Okay, let's just see what Luce has to say. Collaborating with our own mind, the words we say to ourselves and the picture we place in our mind. Absolutely. So the words have a vibration. Keep in mind that mind is not the brain. Completely distinct. The brain is an organ and the switching station, the electronic switching station. Mind is a cellular activity. And what you think affects your body as well. So if you look up Richard Brody or Bruce Lipton, these are scientists that have proven what I just showed you, or what I just told you. So when you hear people collapse together, mind and brain, please don't let them do that. It's lazy, because we know about mind and we know they're not the same, but even the most well-developed neuro-linguistic PhDs still insist that mind and brain are the same. They absolutely refuse to distinguish it, because when they were in college, their teachers didn't know about mind, and the teachers' teachers didn't know, and they're still not teaching mind. I know 2 people on this platform that know both, and the other neuro people refuse. They want mind to be brain. It's crazy. Anyway. Oh, you like the great explanation of load balancing. Okay, cool. All right, let me go on now. All right. So thank you for all your comments. I'm catching up with you. Let's see what's next. Okay. Now we're going to look into cybernetics. And these are 2 quotes by Maxwell Maltz. Now, Maxwell Maltz wrote this book. If you know the story about Maltz, he was a plastic surgeon, and his specialty was severely deformed faces, if you will. People that their whole life they had maybe a cleft palate, a lump on their forehead. I don't know. Maybe they were in an accident. Well, no, that wouldn't be fair. Maybe they were born with it. But these are people where their self-image was governed by outside forces, and that's everybody making faces at them. Oh my God, what happened to you? Mommy, look at that man. He has a lump on his face. So the external forces do a lot of damage to our self-image. And so this is what Maltz discovered. He discovered that even when he repaired the most horrific cases, to back to normalcy, their self-image didn't change at all. They still had the same fears. It didn't matter, right? Because they hadn't done the internal work. And what he said as a result, self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishment. This goes back to confidence being a byproduct of achievement. Self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishment. So see where the relation is to achieving the things you want consistently. The other thing is, he mentioned, is mental pictures offer us an opportunity to practice new traits and attitudes. That's visualization. So he didn't call it that then, but the mental pictures, when you visualize the thing you want as though you already have it, it's exciting. You get to use your five senses. What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I see? It increases motivation, and it drives your cellular vibration up high where love and gratitude and kindness is. And by the way, that's the message you send to the universe about the things you want. So whatever you're focusing on and thinking about the most and the way you feel is what God will send you. You are the source. We are co-creators. So if you wonder why you're getting all these bills, stop saying, I hate bills, I don't want to get any bills. You say, I'm so grateful that I'm able to cover all my expenditures. And money is actually coming to me from unknown sources. You create that beautiful vibration. Do it enough, and the universe can't help but hear. And we'll send it along. You just don't know by when. Okay. Great book. I read it in 1971. And it's funny how I'm still using it this way. So, okay, let me look at the time. Oh, we're doing good. Oops, sorry. Okay, you've seen this before. I want you to understand exactly how and where your self-image, your identity is, where your self-esteem is. Now you'll see that there's an antenna here. This represents your five senses. So the conscious mind accepts and can reject information. It's the thinking or the intellectual mind. When information comes in, we can reject it. We can hold it, right? It could be an idea that we had, or we could be around people that are using words that are uncomfortable or are negative. You step away. Then you know that being around negative information. Now, how does society and the outside influences affect us? Well, here's a perfect example in the United States. We got Democrats and Republicans. Democrats watch one station, Republicans watch another. They don't usually crisscross. So what happens with the conscious mind? The more often you allow negative or positive into your conscious mind on purpose or by default, background, news, etc., eventually it will impress into the subconscious mind, which is not a thinking entity. It only receives. It can't reject. You can't see it, but it gets there. These are your fears and what they call stories, or your programming, your persistent ways of being. Primarily, they are your fears. Because when we're afraid, we think about it over and over and over and over again. Now, in terms of politics, it's by default. If all you do is, I have a neighbor and that's all he listens to. So he has no clue about what's on the other side. Now, I do my best to listen to the other side, but there's a lot of families that have problems with this. My two children, both are married with two children, and one is a Democrat and one is a Republican. Do you know what's happened this cycle over the last few years? They're not discussing it. Period. No talking about politics. None. Pretty sad. But they really believe, right? The Republicans really believe, because they've been self-brainwashed, and so are the Democrats. So it's our job to understand what's going on here. If you consistently focus on positive, eventually that will impress into the subconscious. The subconscious is where your self-image is, your self-esteem, your identity, and your confidence. You can't see it. You can't reject it, but you can tell by the results. Your results will always match what you believe you're capable of or deserving of. So if you don't have what you want, there's a place to look. But the way you got all your fears is not only going through the experience, but because of the magic of mind and what happens when you remind yourself about that terrible time that you were criticized. For example, public speaking is the number one fear because we've all been humiliated. And every time someone asks us over the years, would you like to speak in front of a group? If you had an experience with it, that all resurrects. And it's almost like you go right back there and further embeds it. So the way that you build the confidence is by disproving the existing fears. Oops. Okay, now I want to show you how self-image works. Okay, I'm not good on time here. I'm going to give you 3 examples. It's like autopilot. It's a cybernetic system. So you leave from New York going to Paris, the pilot puts it on autopilot. Okay, this is your self-image. All of a sudden, halfway through, there's a storm. It knocks you off autopilot, but as soon as the weather calms down, right back on autopilot, arrive in Paris. Okay? That's the first example. This is how your self-confidence works. Okay, now, you got it, right? Autopilot is what you believe about yourself, your ability and your deservability. Was there a break here? Yes, but not much of one. Right back into autopilot. Okay, so now let's look at the next one so you can see these examples. Now, this is great for children. And I know you know these things. And by the way, these graphics were done 10 years ago. I just didn't have the time to reproduce them. But look at how silly the clip art is from all those years ago. You can have a good laugh. So here's little Johnny. He's always been a C student. Everybody likes him. He's a good student. When all the teacher meetings occur, right? He is well-liked boy. He behaves himself. He's respectful, but he's always had C's. For years, he's a C student. That's how he sees himself. That's how his parents see him. That's who he's been being. So now he's getting ready to go into high school and then to college. And all of a sudden, his parents enter into the picture and start encouraging him. And now he's starting to dream of getting better grades so he can go to college. And the parents are even promising him a car, right? They incentivize him to get better grades because he won't get into college if he can't break that cybernetic system of being a C student. And it isn't necessarily a bad thing at all because he's a good person. C is not failing. It's average. And so he gets excited and he imagines the car. But just like with the autopilot, it isn't long enough to make a change from all those years of being a C student. So while for a semester he did really well and he had a lot of A's, he lost the motivation. Remember, you have to be motivated all the way through the end, and went right back to being a C student. Now, here's the third one. And I have to tell you, I have a new appreciation for HVAC repairmen for a lot of reasons. But this is the best one. So your furnace is a cybernetic system. So it's winter time and you've got the thermostat set at 70 degrees. One of the kids runs outdoors and leaves the door open, right? So what happens? So the cold air starts coming in. It starts to make the temperature drop below 70, and the furnace sends a message, or the thermostat says a message to the furnace, turn on the fire. It's cold in here. We've got to bring the temperature back up to 70 degrees. Now, provided the kid shuts the door, right, in a short period of time, the furnace will bring the temperature back up to 70 degrees and cut off. It's taken you years to live with your fears. And there are 6 basic fears. Why is it nobody ever contacts me except during lives? So you have 6 basic fears. And most people talk about fear as though it's just one. There's a fear of criticism and judgment. There's a fear of poverty, big one. There's a fear of getting ill, getting sick, COVID. The fear of the loss of the love of someone. They die. They break up with you. You break up with them, whatever it is. It's the loss of love over something you love very much. It's the fear of old age and the fear of death. The 2 top ones are fear of criticism and fear of poverty, right? And there's another way to think about it, the exact opposite, based on the law of polarity, which is what coaches call reframing. So what you have to do now is, so now you understand, hopefully, this is how you rebuild or expand your existing level of confidence. Let me just see what Luce said here. Greatness is a very suitable word to motivate and address your business contacts. Absolutely. Absolutely, Luce. Back in the day, we called it clip art. Listen, I still have a clip art thing that has discs with thousands of clip art images. I was so proud of that. Oh my God. Okay. So very briefly, oh my gosh, we're at 10:59. Let me see where we are. Okay. Well, this is the last. Okay. So bear with me because this is the last thing. In order to rebuild or develop your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-image, and your identity, it takes about 12 weeks. If you will focus on one goal, one thing that you failed at that you really want to do, maybe it's public speaking, or one thing you've never done before, but you really, really want to do it. If that's true, then you have about 12 weeks and we'll mimic with biomimicry the exact process that takes idea to physical form. It's one of the universal laws. So you get an idea, comes in through your 5 senses. Oh, I want to do this. Now, for the first 6 weeks or so, every week you spend 2 tasks, maybe an hour, half hour each time, 45 minutes each time, moving toward that goal. In the meantime, you're visualizing it, you're focused on it, you're thinking about how great it's going to be, right? About halfway through, you start to notice that things are showing up for you, right? That look like coincidences. They're not. That's when you know you're going to achieve this thing. So you continue on, and effectively, when you complete the goal, what you've done is you've disproven that fear. And that level of confidence now begins to build in your subconscious. But one time isn't enough. Okay, I hate to tell you that. But you've been repeating these fears and these worries and the anxiety for decades. But this is the process. You take an idea that really appeals to you, because remember, confidence is a byproduct of achievement. So come on Fridays and you'll learn how to craft a goal that'll motivate you till you achieve it. That's the idea. to stay motivated all the way. What you're doing is you're transmuting thought energy, which is idea, into physical form over 12 weeks. You've proven your ability and your deservability. So you've disproven the fear. You did the thing. So basically makes it null, although it's always going to be there reminding you. So you got to do it again, right? And you've built ability and deservability, and now your confidence is growing again. That's why it's important every time you set a goal that you achieve it. So set it according to the rules. And just running back over this really quickly, now that you've seen all of this, remember that confidence grows based on your consistent achievement, that we are a mirror of one another's greatness and our failings. But if we look for the greatness in others, so too will our own greatness grow. Let me just do this. There we go. And your level of greatness grows in direct proportion to its use, and it matches the greatness you find in others. That's it. We're at 11:03. Gosh, I hope you've really enjoyed this today. I encourage you to thank you. The shadow are the fears. The shadow side are your fears. You just saw where they live. They all live together, and they're miserable in the subconscious. So the idea is to continue disproving, taking on things, and filling your subconscious programming. And by the way, when you achieve that goal that you didn't know how to do or that you failed at before, new neural pathways, new ways of thinking about yourself. So those neural pathways are going to grow when you start thinking differently and you develop habits and then faith. So I am so glad you've enjoyed this. I encourage you to go back and listen to this again, and then get ready for next week, because we have Susan Walsh coming in, and she and I have been friends for over 20 years. We became international speakers together. And so with that, I'm going to wish you the most marvelous week. And I will put up the outro, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you on Friday. If you'll be here, I would love it. And we'll get into the goals. So here we go.